there are waves of people waking up and they've all got to be slapped awake. Okay, not our job, by the way. Don't get excited and think, oh, well, I'll just go and do it a bit. I'll do a bit of that myself. No. Hello, you gorgeous little sweet sugar puffs and puffettes. How are you doing? Today I am talking about Mr. T, and I'm talking about saviours. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So every now and again I ask the emissaries for an update on where we are, what's happening. And they give me this beautiful update and they said, the Great Awakening is happening at such a pace now that we are extremely gratified and grateful. And they said that, they used gratified and grateful, and I was thinking, I think that's just exactly the same. It's a simile, isn't it? It's a simile, but I don't know if it's exactly the same, but that's what they said. We're gratified and we're grateful about how quickly this is accelerating. They said it's never been like it is now. It's like a tidal wave that's coming, passing through the people, waking them up. And so I said, okay, so this is happening, but what's next? And they said, well, we're going to need time for the dust to settle. The dust needs to settle. Obviously, there's a lot of going on. And they said, and for people to acclimatise themselves to what it means to be awake and to start on their journeys. They said, we understand that people are very tired, especially people who've been awake for a while. You know, some people are just waking up. They're not tired. They're just getting into it. Like, oh my God, have you seen this? Oh my God, look at the sky. But those of us who've been around for a bit, knocking around, awake for a while, tired, a bit weary. And the emissary said, look, you must understand that it has to happen this way. It has to happen this way. And there's no point in apologising for the way that it is, because this is what has to happen. They said it has to be so overt, so extreme, so in your face, so obvious. It has to be that way so that the people who are going to wake up see it. They said it's like they've got to be bitch slapped. Now for them, it just wakes them up. For us, it's like, oh, for goodness sake, again, the same old shit again and again and again. And that's because there are waves of people waking up and they've all got to be bitch slapped awake. Okay, not our job, by the way. Don't get excited and think, oh, well, I'll just go and do it a bit. I'll do a bit of that myself. No, it's not our job to go around bitch slapping people. Just let it happen in a natural way. And so I said to them, I thought, well, I'll ask this. I know that they generally don't get into these kind of things. And I said, tell me, because there's this massive furore at the moment about Mr. T and about the fact that he is really doing everything that he said he wasn't going to do. And everything that he said he was going to do, he doesn't seem to be doing. You know, I recall him saying that he was going to bring an end to the war in Ukraine in a week. I recall him saying that gas prices, the petrol prices in the US were going to be the lowest ever. I recall him saying that he was going to bring peace to the world. Quite the opposite seems to be happening. So I said to the emissaries this, I said, look, is this happening on purpose? Is Trump doing this on purpose so that we might wake up, so that we see what's happening? And they said, we can't speak about what Trump's motivation is. That's not our business. But they said, let us tell you that it was always planned this way in the plan. It was always going to be this way in the plan. And so they said, regardless of Trump's motivations behind it, regardless, they said the idea of this is that people will see the most important lesson, which is they have invested in a system that is broken. They've invested in something expecting it to come good, and it's not. And they said this, and they've said this before, but it's so important. They said that the whole point of what's happening now is so that people realize that there is no savior, that nobody is coming to save them. Now that might sound like something awful. It might sound like the worst thing ever. Why not? We need somebody to save us. And the emissary said, we don't. need anybody to save us. It's the best news ever. And they said the reason that we don't need anyone to save us is that we're already saved. And they've said this before. They said this a long while ago. You don't need a saviour because you're already saved. Why would you need to be saved when you're already saved? And they made a big deal out of it. They said what needs to happen is for people to realise their own sovereignty, to realise their own strength, to know exactly who they are, which is that we are all part of the divine. We are all divine creatures. We don't need a saviour because within us we have the saviour. We're already saved. And so they said, when the dust settles and people realise that, and unfortunately, people have invested so much in the white hats and what the white hats are going to do. People have a massive investment in them. And whether that's real or not, I don't know. But what I do know is that the political system that we have is not designed for us. It is or it's not even broken, it's badly designed, or goodly designed for them, badly designed for us. We don't get any benefits from it at all, and it's going from bad to worse, and that's what we are supposed to see. And the emissary said that when we understand, when we find out that we are divine, the game's over. We just need to know it. They said we don't need to do anything specific. They said, people talk about revolution and all of that. We don't need to do anything specific. We just need to know our own power. And then they said it will happen automatically. Automatically, people will just say, hey, no thanks. Not today. You can shove that up your jumper. You can stick that where the sun don't shine. That's what people are going to do. It's just this turning away from that. They only exist because we look at them, we vote for them, we do what they tell us. That's the only reason that they exist. As soon as we stop, they then have nothing. They have nothing. They only have us. Without us, they have nothing. And they are nothing. Quite what politicians will have to do when they're not politicians, I have no idea, because I think their skill level is right at the bottom. I think my standard poodle has more skills than a politician. I think the shit on the bottom of my shoe has more qualities than a politician. But that's just my opinion. And so this realization of who we are and that we're okay, that we don't need people to save us, that will be the saving of us. And it reminds me of when I came out of the Jehovah's Witnesses. I had a channel that I was using on YouTube to help ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. And every now and again, somebody would come on and they would give me a hard time. No, how dare you say that about Jehovah's Witnesses? They're lovely people and all of that, Ho-hum, eye roll. And I used to get really, really angry. And I would say, how dare you? Yeah, they destroyed my family, blah, 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 blah. And I would get really vexed. And a friend of mine said to me, Gordon, why are you getting so vexed about what those people are saying to you? I see your comments and you're really angry all the time. Maybe you haven't got over it yet. Maybe you haven't dealt with it. Maybe you haven't done the work. And I thought, how dare you? How dare you? I'm over it. I'm out of it and everything. But I wasn't. I was still reactive to what it was that they were doing and saying. And it was because I hadn't found who I was. I didn't know who I was. And so I was still angry and I hadn't forgiven. And then you go through this process, the loss process, where you end up just forgiving it and then finding out who you are. And I got to a point where I could just see somebody saying something and go, that's okay. Well, that's your point of view. It's not my point of view. What you say doesn't affect me. There's a beautiful expression, which is not my shit. Not my shit. Honestly, that's what we have to take into our heart. In these moments, we see something and we say, not my shit. No, I'm okay. I'm divine. And I am saying, no, I do not approve. I do not approve of this message. That's all that we have to be and get to. Just not approve. We're not part of it. And lots of people talk about feeling not part of it. We don't want to be part of that fucker. Not at all. No, we want to start our own. start our own little community. And this is what we're doing with this beautiful channel as well. Just be part of something beautiful. Be part of something nice. And turn our face away from all of that bollocks. I love you all and I'll speak to you all later. But before I go, tell me in the comments whether you think that Mr. T is doing this on purpose or whether you just think he's lost. What do you reckon? See you all later. Bye-bye.